Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Gennady Triple G Golovkin, going out to Austin Webb. Let's get into it. I thank you for that request, and my apologies for the delay. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I put up a video, but life has just been crazy. But from here on out, I'm going to try to get up as many videos as possible. I'm going to try to meet these requests, and I'm going to try to put out good content. A lot of the content is just going to have to be raw and uncut because of my schedule. But I do love this. I love what I do. I love my subscribers. I love the requests. So I'm going to try to keep them going as I build this channel. So Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Gennady Triple G Golovkin. Let's get into it. A lot of people will choose Marvin Hagler. I won't even lie. And for good reasons. Marvin Hagler is the legend. Marvin Hagler fought the better opposition of his era. Whereas Triple G fought good competition, but Triple G fought who was available, and he fought who would fight him. He was after a fight with Canelo for the longest time. And if my memory serves me correctly, he wanted to fight Cotto at one time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do somehow remember him wanting to fight Cotto. But I always start off on the premise that styles makes fights. So that's the first thing I try to look at when I do these matchups. As far as power, I think Triple G and Marvin Hagler are equal as far as power is concerned. They both do tremendous damage with their shots. And so I think this will be a great matchup from that standpoint. Marvin Hagler has the southpaw advantage. If he stays southpaw, I'm really not a big fan of switch hitting. I wish he never would have fought Sugar Ray Leonard in the conventional stance. He had the advantages at southpaw, or being southpaw, and so fighting Triple G out of the conventional stance would be a big mistake, especially since he's giving up a lot of advantages if he chooses to fight out of the conventional stance. So I think another thing this fight would come down to is chins. Who has the better chin? And both of these guys have tremendous chins. They basically have bomb shelter chins, for lack of a better term. So, resumes don't make fights. Legendary status doesn't make fights. Styles makes fights. Styles makes fights. And when the bell rings, you don't take your resume in there with you. You don't take your accomplishments in there with you. You can take your experience in there with you. And Marvin Hagler was seasoned. He was. Both fighters are as tough as nails. I mean, these are two of the toughest middleweights in the history of boxing, which once again, it makes for a tremendous fight. And I'm kind of having trouble with this one because it's so close. It's so close. I mean, as I mentioned before, Marvin Hagler has the advantage out of the southpaw stance. Marvin Hagler can box as well as brawl, but guess what? So can Triple G. So can Triple G. I feel that both of these guys had longevity, both durable fighters. So this one would definitely go to the cards. There's no reason to believe that either one of these guys will suffer a knockout loss. It would definitely go to the cards. It will definitely be close. The fight will be close. Both guys will have their moments. This will be a boxer puncher affair. You'll see moments of boxing. You'll see moments of both guys being tactical, and then you see moments of these guys just going at it. Just going at it. And to be honest, if they decide to slug it out at any point during the fight, I might give the edge to Triple G because He had power in both hands. I feel that he throws his hooks better. But Marvin has power in both hands too. So if I was just looking for something to separate these guys, as far as who would have the advantage in this fight, I would look at the southpaw stance of Marvin Hagler. I look at the footwork of Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler seems to be more of a versatile fighter. He seems to be able to switch it up better than Triple G. But at the same time, everything that's coming from Triple G is power. Power jab, power straight right, power hooks. Just everything is power. Their chins are equal. Their chins are equally durable, okay? Who wins this fight? You got to help me out with this one. Who wins this fight? I'm looking at this from every possible angle, and I'm still having trouble with this. The best I can say is that it goes to the cards. It really goes to the cards, and it just depends on what the judges like. So guess what? I'm going to have to give the marvelous Marvin Hagler a slight edge in a close decision, depending on who's judging the fight. Let me be honest. Depending on who's judging the fight. Depending on who's judging it, they could have it for Triple G. They could have it for Marvin Hagler. But it's going to be a split decision on either end. I have to give you a winner, and so I'm going to give the slight edge to marvelous Marvin Hagler. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video. Let me give a shout out to my favorite new boxing channel on YouTube called Boxing Fan State of the Union. That's Boxing Fan State of the Union. And I love this channel because they talk about things that I wish other boxing channels would talk about, and things that I've mentioned several times on this channel. They talk about inactive fighters. They talk about fans thinking that they're managers. And he has a cool nickname for them called fanagers. These guys are fanagers. These are guys that want to negotiate on behalf of the boxers. They always want to talk about who's on the A side. They always want to criticize other fans for wanting to see the best fight the best, and they always want to accuse us of not caring about the fighters' well-being. If my memory serves me correctly, a little over 20 years ago in boxing, we didn't care how much boxers were making. Now, of course, everyone deserves their fair share, but we didn't care. We didn't get into those conversations, and we didn't get caught up or drawn into that. And I always say we talk about the fighters' money as if we're getting some of it. I mean, we might as well get a cut for negotiating on their behalf, for debating, for arguing about what fighters make. And for what? What do I as a fan? What do you as a fan? And what do we as fans get out of this? We're not getting the money. And at the end of the day, if these guys don't fight, if they don't make the best fights or the fights that we want to see, then we've got nothing. So think about this. Talk about their money, advocate for them all you like. Rally behind your favorite fighter. Now, don't get me wrong. I have my favorite fighters. I have my biases. And of course, I'm going to pull for my favorite fighter. But at the end of the day, the sport has to come first. And if the sport is not producing, if my favorite fighter is not producing, then we have to call it out. We have to speak on it. Fanagers. I like that. Boxing Fan State of the Union calls them fanagers, and I've adopted that. I love it. Because I'm trying to see when this all started and why is a fighter's financial matters of such interest to me, you, to us. Like I said, I care about the fighters. I care about their well-being. But at the same time, I care about the sustainability of the sport. And this isn't a sustainable model. And I just have a hunch that if we didn't allow ourselves to get drawn into these money debates and these money discussions, that we would get more of the fights that we want. But because they know that we're going to debate about their money, they're not going to give us the fights because they have us caught up in things. Listen, in my opinion, they shouldn't even publicly disclose that, because I'm like, who cares? Why is the sport, why is the managers, promoters, and even the fighters discussing this publicly or disclosing that? It's none of our business. Here's how it works. You produce the fight, I'll pay the money. And if it's a fight that I want to see, I will pay premium price for that fight. Let me just be real. I will pay top dollar for that fight. But as far as what you're making, as far as what the fighters are making, the promoters are making, the managers are making, which I don't care about, that's for you all to work out. You all work that out. You all negotiate that amongst yourselves and behind closed doors. The boxing fans don't need to be bothered with this. And the boxing fans don't need to get caught up in this. Again, are you getting any of the money? Are you getting a cut for debating with me how much a fighter is making? Get real, people. Get real, people. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think.